Welcome to today's lab, which I call the Chessboard lab. In doing today's lab, we will go through a few new commands. One is the offset command, the other is the trim command, as well as the erase and the hatch command. Now, in order to go through these, first I want to review the last lab, which was the drawing of a football field. So if you could, just to refresh your memory, remember if you click the line command and draw a line here, make sure your ortho is on so your lines are perfectly straight. And if you remember, the field width was 53.333, and then the length was 100 yards plus 10 and 10 for each end zone, so 120 yards, putting that width down, and then going back up 53.333 and 120 yards. So I've drawn these lines here. I'm going to push escape and start from there, and then I'm going to center this drawing a little bit better. So from here we were supposed to draw the lines for a football field, and if you recall, the lines went something like 10 yards for the end zone, 53.333 for this what we call the goal line, and then 5 yards, and then 53.333, and then 5 more yards, and then 53.333, going zigzagging back all the way across the field back and forth until you got to the other end, which you leave another 10 yards for the end zone. So that was the lines part of it. That's the basics on the line drawing. Now, one thing I wanted to point out is I mentioned earlier that there's usually 2 or 3 different ways that you can do a command, and I've usually used this line command. Click on it and then draw a line like this. My ortho's on, so that's why the line is completely straight or horizontal. But you can also, if you're out here, you can type the letter L while you're on the screen. Type the letter L like that, and then you wait just a second, and the computer realizes, oh, you're trying to get a command, and it will pull up several options. Of course, the first one is the most common, and that is line. So you can do that. Type L for a command, and the computer will help you find that. Now the next command, I'm going to erase these 2 here. Notice I'm highlighting them, and I just push delete. That's a simple way to get rid of lines. The next command is called the offset command, and this offset command, when you leave the mouse cursor on it, it will give you a short explanation of it. But what the offset does is it basically takes a copy of any line that you have, and it makes a copy to the left or to the right of that line, or to the top and the bottom of the line. I'll give you an example here. So if I want to offset this line here, I'm going to highlight it so you can see what it is. Offset, I would take this, click on the button, offset button, and then it asks you some questions. It says specify the offset distance, and let's say I went an offset distance of 1 unit in this case. Remember, this field was, we assumed that 1 unit was a yard. So the next question it asks here is select an object to offset. So if I were to, say I wanted to take this line here, that line, and offset it. So notice it highlights the line in a blue, zooming in, but as I move up and below the line, it draws a copy of the line, that is 1 unit away. So I'm going to go above it, click on the mouse, left click here, and now I've made a copy of that one line here. That one line here. I'm just pushing escape to get out of the command now. And it made a copy here, which is the one above that line there. So with this, you can make copies, multiple copies of lines. Let's see, I click that again, offset, and I'm going to do an offset distance of 3. Okay, 3, push enter, and select the object to offset. So if I offset this second copy that I have, and I go above it, it makes a line 3 above or low. So let's say I go above. Now notice as I left click and it makes a line above, that I'm still in the offset command mode right here. I have it listed in large letters. If I just were to click that again, it would make another line offset. I'm going to back out, zoom out with my roller mouse button. And if I keep making copies here, it keeps making more lines above it. Well, that's pretty nice and helpful, but watch what happens. I'm going to First of all, I'm going to get rid of all of these, push escape first of all, and get rid of all of these lines. Just don't necessarily want these lines. Excuse me, I need to select a little more carefully. So now if I do that offset command using a partially completed football field, I can click on it, specify the offset distance. This time I'm going to do 5 units. And as I click on this line of the field, I push 5 and push enter. Now I click on it. Notice how it's asking me specify a point on offset or a side to offset it to. So if I go to the right, I click it, it makes another line. I'm still in the offset command mode, so if I click it again, the copy that I just made, another one, it makes another copy, and another, and another. And you can see, this is usually where the students give me kind of a dirty look saying, hey, we could have done this drawing a lot faster if we knew this before for the football field lab. And I tell them, well, that's just how you learn from starting with the simple methods all the way down. What normally took 20 minutes, some students took 30, 40 minutes. This one I could do in about 2 with this offset command. So that's the offset command. I'm going to push escape to move out of it. The second command that I want to go through today is called the trim command, which is up here. You see you have a pencil eraser looking icon here, and then next to that's the erase command, by the way, the pencil looking one. The trim command is here, and it has actually a pull down menu. You could pull and go to trim or extend. We'll stick with trim today. Again, it gives you a short description of what the trim command does. Trims objects, gives you a little demonstration or a picture there. But if you click on it, and you're able to trim out any lines that are overlapping other lines. And I need to first create an example of what I mean by this. So I'm going to move this over here, and I'm still in the trim command. I'm going to push escape to get out of it. First of all, let's say you had several lines here. I'm going to turn off my ortho, and let's pretend that these lines represented some kind of a special drawing, and I needed to remove some of these lines. So let's see, that's my drawing. It's a beautiful piece there. Let's say I wanted to take off all of these points, these points here, but keep the rest of the lines. Now, if I highlight on the line, I could delete the whole line by pushing the delete button. Okay, now I'm going to undo that so it comes back here. That's one way, but if I just want to get off these points, these barbs on the top and the, let's say the right side around the edges here, the way to do that is go to the trim command up here, left click on the trim, and then come out to your screen, your drawing screen, and then right click. So left click on trim, right click here, and now notice it says select object to trim or shift select to extend. Well, we're working on the trim today, so I'm going to highlight and trim these pieces out. You see how it cuts off just the sections of the line. And remember, it's only the sections of the lines that are overlapping another line there. If I had a line that was not overlapping anything, then it would not trim out. For instance, let's go to the left here. I'm still in the trim command. If I click on these lines, it does not trim anything because they are not overlapping necessarily. Oh, that was overlapping. So in this case, because I zigzagged, it was overlapping that one there. So anyway, that gives an idea of how the trim command works. I'm going to undo some of my work there. Okay, now the next command is the erase command. Let's pretend that you wanted to erase every other line here. And of course, the trim command does not work when you trim on it. Right click and the lines still stay there. That's letting you know that it won't be able to trim out. A couple will because they are overlapping other lines. But these other ones, let's say I wanted to take off these, they do not trim out. So I have to go and push escape a couple times, go to the erase command, click on that. And now when I'm in the erase command, it says select objects. Well, I select whatever I wish to erase. Let's say I wanted to erase every second line here. You see how it highlights them? And then when I'm done selecting, I push enter, which tells it that I'm done, and it deletes those lines. Again, click erase, select the lines you want to erase. If I want to take out these lines there, those there, and oh, let's do the bottom. Take those all out. It's highlighted, but when I push enter, they disappear. So that is the erase command. And now let's go to the fourth command, which is the hatch command. And the way the hatch command works, let's just make another drawing here. I'll tell you what, let's go from simple lines here. I'll make sure my ortho is on, and let's just say I made this connect here. Now this extra line here I could again trim, right click, and get rid of that. But let's pretend I wanted to make kind of a grid, and with this grid I'll do the offset. So offset, let's do a distance of 3, and then let's make several lines like this. Let's see, a little bit. I can zoom in because it's a little hard to click on there. I roll zoom forward. So you go all the way down, and let's say I kept doing that all the way down, and then I stayed in the offset command with a unit 3 spacing. Now I go this way, and again click, click. By the way, if I'm in the middle of this command and I'm here, I could say I want it to be 4 now, or 5. And you see the spacing gets bigger, but then it goes back to 3. So the point there is that you can adjust it because it's in blue. You can edit it. All right, so not quite a beautiful grid here. I've got some longer spaces there. But the next command I wanted to go through is shown with this grid here, somewhat grid, partially done. And that is here. It's the hatch command. Hatch it's just their definition for when you want to fill in an area. The area has to be completely enclosed with lines, and that you can put in a texture, a gradient, or color. I'm going to show the basics of how it works. So again, I'm not in a command now, but if I go to hatch, and it automatically gives me a type of what do you call it? A texture that follows. Here's a pattern, but without touching anything, I'm just going to click on these squares, and you see how I can make a set of colored areas, right? And when I push enter, I'm done, and that goes back out of the hatch ribbon and back to the home ribbon, and I have these textures in here. Now if I want to hatch again, this time I want a different texture, different pattern. I can go up here to the pattern command, and excuse me, I'll go to here and pick out a different pattern. Let's go with the bricks. Let's see if the bricks work. I don't know if you'll see it because sometimes it's so small. Now this time, if I go here, here, here. Now notice you can't really see the bricks very well, and a part of it is because these bricks are much larger in texture, so it doesn't always show up as well. But you'll need to pick out a pattern that you like. Let me change this pattern to something. Let's go. This is called AR roof. I'm going to guess that that's some kind of. Oh, it changed my existing texture. So you can change that around. I'm going to push enter. So I have two types of textures here. If I want to delete one, I just highlight it. I just highlight it there and then push delete. And if I want to get rid of the other, I can highlight it and delete itself too. Now let's go to the lab. The lab is called the Offset, Trim, and Erase and Hatch lab. I also call it the Chessboard lab. There are several instructions here. Let's go through them. It says be sure to include your name and section number. Again, your section number is online. On your drawings, create a chessboard where each individual square on the board is 15 units high and 15 wide. So that means that this particular square, this white square, is 15 by 15, and then this is 15 by 15, and so on and so forth. The whole length should be 120. I think 15 times 8 is 120 by 120. So you've got this big board, giant chessboard. Then it says list the numbering and lettering system for the board as shown below. Put it on the outside of the board. So what you see here, go ahead and recreate that. You know how to do text there. Then it says color the board so that it has lighter squares and darker squares. And for that I recommend you pick a hatch command and color in the ones you want darker. The lighter ones, just leave them blank, and that should be plenty good enough to see. This last part is a little more tedious, and I'm going to call this the extra credit 2 points. And this one is inside of each of the squares in row 1, 2, 7, 8, put the words for the piece that goes there. For example, 8A, which is 8 here, and A right there, so 8A is should say rook, and 2E, 2, there's 2, and there's E, that is the spot for a pawn, so it should say pawn. Be sure that the letters are small enough to fit in the squares and the same size all the way through. So your letters should be pretty small in here. Now you will find that your letters, they will get overlapped somewhat with the hatch, so don't worry about that. You'll see rook here. This one is a bishop. And by the way, if you need a reference for chess pieces, you can just type in chess pieces placement on a board, and they will go through. You can find things about the chess pieces here. In fact, I'll just go to images. You see a bunch. I think there should be one here. These are the one. There's one that shows a pawn and a knight and where they go and things. So go ahead and work on that. Then the second part. In the second part, I'll have another file for you to download. So you're going to draw one chessboard here, like this, with numbers and names, and then some hatch texture or coloring in it. The second part, after you've drawn that, you have a friend named, we'll call him Murphy, like as in Murphy's Law. And he has tried to make the same chessboard, but had some problems in how he did it. Download the messed up chessboard that he worked on and clean up the lines so that it looks correct. It is on the master link, or in this class case, I'll have it listed on the web page, so you can download it. Now you don't need to put labels on this. Don't need to put labels, but you will need to pin them together or put them together. So I will show you a quick demonstration on how that works. I want you to print out 2 chessboards, yours and Murphy's, and to have them together. His will be slightly smaller than yours. I'll show you an example of his. As you do this lab, first of all, your lines will be about 120. It should be 120 units exact, in fact. So as I click on the line and go to the top again, it tells me that this is 120, also by 120 lines there, 120 units. So from here, I'm going to go quickly through what we're doing. Make sure you offset at 15. So it's offset, click 15, push enter. Select object to offset. So as you go through quickly, you can make a chessboard like this, and that should be 15 there. And then you go over this way, across that, and you have a quick chessboard there. I'm going to escape out of the line offset command. Then you'll go to text, and you go to single line, set a height. Let's say a start point of here, and my ortho is on, so I'm going to turn it off here. And so with the ortho off, I'm going to put a height of, let's just say 5, and a angle of 0 degrees, because I want it to go left to right. And then for this first set of commands, I'm going to look back at my sheet, and the sheet, the way it's listed is 8765432 and then A through H. So back here at the drawing, I'm going to type in 8, push escape and push enter. Then I can take this key or this number and move it over, move it there. I can also make a copy. Let me show you how this copy works. I believe I did before, but if not, the way you copy something is you copy here, click on that, select the object. In this case, it's this 8. See how it turns slightly blue. And then to tell it I'm done, I'm going to push enter. And now I'm going to select the base point. But before I select the base point, I'm going to turn the ortho on, turn that on, because that way I will be able to move it directly up and down or left, right, horizontally in a straight line. So I'll make it above here 8, 7, 6, 5. I'm counting off 4, 3, 2, 1. So I'll push escape. I know they all came out 8s, but now I can double click here and then just type 7, enter, 6, enter, 5, enter, 4, enter, 3, enter, and so on and so forth. Same thing with the I'm going to zoom or move this over. Going left to right, I can do the same thing with the letters, and that is A through H. There, I won't go through that one. So what I want to do is, at the end, you'll have it hatched. You can hatch out sections, make sure you fill in, and I'm only going to do a part of it. So in the end, you will have this nice looking chessboard that you can, oops, made a mistake. Yep, there, okay. You have this area that should be all checkered in or chessboarded in, and then you're going to open up Murphy's file, Murphy's chessboard. Now I've opened it on this other section here, so I'm going to show you how to take his board and put it next to yours. I'm going to put this one on the right side. Go to click over to Murphy's chessboard. I've just downloaded this from the website. You see he's been working on it, and he made it kind of drew some extra lines, drew some crooked lines. So basically this needs to be cleaned up with the trim command and the erase command. Somewhere inside here there is an actual chessboard that is correctly done. A little smaller than ours, but that's okay. So the first thing I want to do is select the whole thing. So if I go to the bottom right hand side and click on the left click button, and then go move to the left. Notice how it goes green there, and everything is selected. Now I'm going to escape just to show you again. Start from the right side and go to the left. Moving to the left, starting out, everything is green. Watch what happens if I go from left to right and surround everything. It turns blue and everything is selected. But escaping one more time, if I go left to right and I don't cover everything, notice how it does not select this bottom section. So just to be safe, go right to left and overlap it with the green there, with the green section. Then the next command is the control button. Control button's on the bottom left of your keyboard. Push that and hold it down. Hold it down, and while you're holding that control button down, it says CTRL, Control C. So hold that down and push the C button, and it should have do some kind of a response there. What it's done now is taken a copy of this and put it in the memory of your Windows-based computer. Now let's go back to my first drawing there, a completely different file from Murphy's chessboard. From here, I can put my cursor to the right of the original chessboard. Now, same thing, Control, but instead of C, do Control V. V is in velvet. So Control V, see what it does? It brings up that drawing that I had selected before, and I can place it wherever I want. As soon as I'm ready to insert it, place it, I can left click here, and it is ready to clean up. So I'm going to zoom in. So I've taken that again, and before I zoom in, I want to show you again. I can take that, select it all, copy it, Control C, and then I can paste it here or back here in the same spot. I can Control V it, gives me another copy. Now it's still in the memory of my computer, so I can Control V again, and it will do it again here. I don't want it here. I don't want a second copy, so I'm going to escape out of that. Now it's time to clean this up, and by clean up again, I want you to look through what lines need to be deleted. You can do this and then put the erase command, select this and do the erase command. You can also select several lines like this. Remember that left to right command. Anything that it touches, it will select. You can delete that or erase it. And so you are slowly cleaning up lines. Now if I select this and erase it, it will take out something that I think I need to keep. In fact, I think I took something else out that I needed to keep. So if you do something too much, you can just do the back button or the undo button, and it will bring back the lines that you had. Then you can come back and start taking out again. Now remember, you can use the erase command or the trim up here. So left click trim, right click on the screen, and you can start to take out any lines that you don't like. You can actually block lines that you don't want. I'm going to block left to right here. And then lines that do not erase, I'm trying to trim this, doesn't trim. Those are the ones you have to come back and erase with your mouse and then push enter. Okay, so this is looking better, not quite complete. So you want this board to be like a grid like this one. You don't have to worry about the hatch command. But you want this to be cleaned up. So make sure your name is here. This board is complete, and this one is all cleaned up. And then you can save that as a DWG file and turn that in. Good luck.